He won! Oh! He won!
Hey, what's up, you guys?
What up?
Hey, scientists for the first time this year reported 2 male humpback whales having sex. Yeah, Warner Brothers are already gonna make a movie about them. Yeah, they're gonna call it Humpback Mountain. It's weird how language changes over time, right? Like nowadays, if a guy came up to me and told me he was gonna blow my brains out, I wouldn't know whether to run away or pull my pants down. Yeah, I was watching this Bigfoot show the other day, and it struck me as how dedicated these Bigfoot hunters were. Yeah, they're so devoted to something that might not even be real. Like comedians in their careers. Yeah, I've had sex with all different types of women, like white, black, Asian, Hispanic. In my opinion, Asian women give the best blowjobs. Yeah. If any of you ladies like to prove me wrong, you can meet me in the bathroom after my set. What did the Australian chess player say to the waiter?
What?
Checkmate. A couple months ago, North Korea sent over 200 balloons over to South Korea. And they were loaded with garbage and excrement. But that statement's not exactly accurate, because they weren't filled with shitty trash. No, they were packed with Dane Cook's jokes. Yeah, there's a new disorder going around called the Usher syndrome. Yeah, it makes you go blind and deaf. That's pretty serious, right? Because I always thought when you got Usher syndrome, it just made you go, yeah. Yeah, I was in the United States Army, 1st Cavalry Division, Fort Hood. It was pretty cool, It was weird being the only Asian person, though. Yeah, every day people were just looking at me like, are we supposed to shoot this guy? Yeah, my dog, she's really cute, She's so cute when other dogs see her, they go, oh my gosh, that dog is so cute. And then they go, oh my gosh, I can talk. Yeah, it's cool being in the Army, you get some good benefits. I'd say the best benefit is the ability to give old men hard-ons. Yeah, old men, they love hearing Army stories. I guess because it makes them feel younger, it gives them hope for the future or something. Like if I meet an old man at a park and I start telling him Army stories, I'm telling him he'll start coming all over me. Yeah, one of my buddies is Muslim. He doesn't eat pork, so that's cool, but he's always trying to pork shame me and stuff. He's always like, oh, gross, you eat bacon and sausage? I'm like, man, I'm Korean, right? We eat dog, right? Yeah, the day I was driving around, I got pulled over by a horse cop. Yeah, it's crazy, I didn't even know it was behind me until I heard this, woo, woo! And it wasn't a siren making that sound either, it was the horse. The NFL has one Asian player, and he's a kicker. Could you not find a more racist position for this guy? Well, you make him go out barefoot in a karate uniform? Yeah, I was watching the Oscars this past season. Towards the end, I was getting all excited, I was like, hey, look, they're bringing back the Mummy. But then I saw again, I was like, oh no, that's just Al Pacino. Yeah, I was talking to this dude the other day. He told me he's Persian. I was like, you're Persian? From Persia? He was like, yeah, where are you from? I was like, the Han Dynasty, I guess? Yeah, I was eating pizza the other day, but, eating pizza by yourself is kind of depressing, right? Yeah, it's like eating cake or getting drunk by yourself. Basically like my last birthday. I'll tell you guys a story. I'll tell you an Army story, right? Alright, sometimes people get unfortunate nicknames in the Army, right? Like, perfect case is this guy named Nopi. Nopi's short for no penis, right? Anyway, in the very beginning of basic training, our drill sergeants, they tell us that our 2 best shooters of basic training will get to shoot the rocket launcher, right? It's called the AT-4. And so we're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, right? So I did my best, but I got 5th place out of 200. Anyway, the morning of the shooting, whatever, we're all bleachers, we're watching, right? And so the first guy goes up, and they hand him a rocket launcher, and he's fumbling with it. There's 5 steps you have to do to get it ready to fire. And then he puts it onto his shoulder, right? So we're like, all right, here we go, And then it goes boom, right? And there's 2 clouds on either side. And then this thing looks like an orange football comes screaming out of it, right? It's like, boom, and it hits his tank. It doesn't explode right away. It goes, boom, right? All these fucking sparks start flying. And we're like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's fucking awesome, And so the next guy goes up, and same thing. They hand him a rocket launcher, and he's kind of fumbling with it. Then he puts it to his shoulder, right? And so I'm like, all right, here we go. And same thing, it's like boom, but this one goes straight into the ground, right? Just like 10 feet in front of him. It's like, right, it just blows up. And we're like, you suck, you loser, you freaking lose, you know? And then that night he got the name No Penis. And so came Nopi, you know? So it just shows like, you might only get one shot in life, you know? You fuck it up, you might end up with some fucked up nickname and shit. I'll tell you another story. First day of 8th grade, there was this huge fight at my school. And I didn't see it personally, but everyone talks about it to this very day. Anyway, it involved this, some 7th grade Vietnamese kid that I never heard of, some kid named Viet. And Chago, right, an 8th grader. Everyone knew who Chago was, right? He was like this cholo gangster kid, and he had a shaved head. And the rumor was that his older brother was like this gang leader. And so everyone was scared. You know, I was scared to death of Chago, you know? I spent all 7th grade just avoiding this guy. Anyway, it was the first day of 8th grade, right? So there was a huge fight after school. So everyone tells me the same thing, that in the very beginning, Viet gets this weird kung fu stance, you know, he goes like this, right? And everyone starts laughing because they think he's messing around or something. But he's not, you know, he's like, come on, right? And so Chago's like, all right, motherfucker. And so Viet just starts kicking and punching him, you know, like all these weird, quick little kung fu pin hits, you know? And he's like, he's winning. And so Chago's got these 2 buddies, and they're like, fuck this, right? So they jump in. But Viet starts fighting all 3 of them, you know? He's like, come on, come on, come on. And everyone told me the same thing. They said the 3 guys, it looked like they were moving in slow motion, and Viet was just like, boom, 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 right? So at some point, Chago's like, fuck this. And he goes to his backpack, and he gets these 2 sharpened pencils, you know? He's like, I'm gonna fucking stab you, right? And so Viet, he starts kicking at the pencils and shit. And he breaks them. He breaks both of them. And then he just starts kicking everyone, like, ah! And they're like, oh shit! And they all just fucking run away. And everyone's just like stunned, like, what the fuck was that? And they're like, wow, you know? I saw one of those guys the next morning. He was fucking like limping around and shit. And so like after that fight, everyone in my school took martial arts after that. And after that fight, everyone stopped using pencils. Okay, I have more time. All right, yeah, I did have a nickname also when I was in the Army. Towards the end of basic training, I had the nickname Kenobi, right? Anyway, what happened is we're all camped out in this bivouac area, and we're getting ready to pack up and march back to the base. Yeah, none of us are looking forward to this because forced marching is like one of the hardest things you could do in the military. Sort of like you're like loaded with like 80 pounds of gear and shit. You're just like marching, right? It's really hard. The first time we did 4 miles, and that sucked. And then the second time we did 8 miles, which like haunts my dreams to this day, you know? Now we're about to do 16 miles, right? And so none of us are looking forward to this. So we're like marching towards this rendezvous point. And on the side of this road, there's this truck. And behind this truck steps the sergeant, and he's like, hey, I need help loading this truck. So right away, my brain is like, bing! If he needs help loading that truck, then he's gonna need help unloading that truck. I was like, I'll do it, right? And I start running out there, I start loading it up and shit. Now my whole platoon is watching me, and they're like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy, you know? Well, he just loves to work and shit, like what an idiot, right? So they march off, and it's like me and these 5 other guys, right? We load up this truck. It takes us about 45 minutes, you know? And so we get in the truck and we drive off. After just 10 minutes, you know, we catch up to the column and shit. And we're like, hey, what's up, guys? Now, they all did the same thing, right? They're like marching, they're like, and they look up at us, like, you know? And the next guy, right? And the next guy's like, right? And we just drive past and we're like, bye, you know? And so we get to the base, just like whatever. After an hour, and then for 45 minutes, we unload the truck. And then like we're writing letters home, we're taking showers, you know, we eat. And we got all this spare time, you know, free time, just the 6 of us, like in this huge building. And after a while, we find these chairs and shit. We're like racing each other, you know, with these office chairs. And then we find these brooms, right? So we're like jousting each other and shit. And then at some point, someone's like, hey, they're coming back. So we all go and look, and we're like, what the fuck? You know, last time we saw these guys, they're all marching together in a group, right? But now they're all just trickling in one at a time, like every man for himself. And they're kind of just like dragging themselves, they're like zombies and shit. And finally, the whole mass show up, just like zombies, like a whole zombie horde. They're like, they sound like zombies. Some of them like dragging shit. So I run downstairs, I find my buddy, I'm like, hey man, what took you guys so long? And they're just staring like, you know, I could tell he was all pissed off and shit, but he was so tired. Like all I could say was, you knew, you fucking knew, man. How did you know? And the guy next to him was like, man, that motherfucker's Ewan Kenobi. And that's how the Kenobi name came out. This is a lot better than my old nickname, which was that Chinese looking motherfucker. My name's Iwano, I'm out here. Thank you.
Yeah! Keep it going for Iwan! Guys, that's our mic. Thank you so much for coming. If you're sticking around, come see me in the